Alright, Mr. MiyagiStyle. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Thursday? Is it Thursday? I think so. Wednesday? Thursday? Anyways, it's almost a weekend. I'm going to cover a few things. I'm going to kind of kill three birds with one stone with this video. I'm just going to rant on for a little bit. I'm going to try and keep it low as short as possible. The second segment will be some new findings of the lens guard that Bassman Strike has found and has done some testing. Kudos to him for doing this. I want to add on to the new findings in terms of the lens guard. The video will be kind of like a slideshow. I'm going to commentate, so I can't really show you here. I have pictures from Bassman's video that I'm going to point out a few things about this. It's something that you should be aware of and ways to kind of prevent water issues with this lens guard. This is on the original as well as the replacements, but I'll go over that with you guys. The third video will be, some people have been asking me about what I use my action cameras for, whether it's DJI or GoPro or whatever, and mounting systems and what I mount it on and the things that I do anyways. I've got kind of a slide video, show video of the things I mount my camera on. It gives you an example of what I use my cameras for. That's only about half of it. I have ones for my diving, which I can't really do. There's a kind of a video of it, and other stuff too, right? First and foremost, I'm seeing videos still coming out with the Ace Pro and some really nice stuff. There's been videos of people comparing the Ace Pro with the Alpha A6700. I think I mentioned this before. The Alpha A67, this is the Alpha A6300. It's a mirrorless SLR. But these are great cameras. So the camera that he's comparing it to in terms of the night mode, and I've seen people compare images as well. And the A6700 is $2,000, and it can't touch the Ace Pro in terms of night mode, which makes sense because these format cameras, even with the large lenses and the large aperture, they don't tend to do well with night. And the problem with these cameras, they don't really have stabilizers, good stabilizers like these action cams do. So a combination of stabilizer and lens, if you don't have a good balance of the two, your pictures aren't going to come out, or your video isn't going to come out well. And you'll see in this video, I'll put the link below, you'll see in the video the differences between the two. Now you're talking about a $2,000 camera here. On top of that, probably another $1,000, $2,000 lens that's on that camera against this little $500 Ace Pro. And the difference is, it's incredible. What, again, this just proves incredible what this camera can do. There's another reviewer that's on. I put his link below too. He just unboxed his Ace Pro, and I'd rather not bitch about this, but this is the reason why I'm here. I'm really tired of this. This is not an action camera because it has a flip screen, or because it doesn't have a removable lens cover. Well, we've fixed that removable lens cover, so that's a resolution that's taken care of. This whole flip screen thing, and he says, well, if you want an action camera, this is not the action camera. I wouldn't recommend this camera as an action camera. It's such a silly rebuttal. It's very simple, and he's talking about, well, it doesn't have a front display, so you can't frame and it's really not, it's a good vlogging camera, but you can't frame yourself and blah 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 blah. So my argument to this is, if you don't want to use that the flip screen, I wouldn't use it in an action event. That's just crazy. You're just asking for trouble, right? Just put it down. If you put it down, it's safe from breaking. It's in there solid. The screen is actually quite solid. It's built like a tank. I'm not sure what the problem is, and for the funny thing is, we're over a month into this camera already. Have we seen a broken display yet? We haven't. And we keep seeing people using it in skiing, scuba diving, motocrossing, strapping on the cars. People have dropped their cameras from a ski lift, tough mudding. They're jamming their cameras in the mud, and yet we don't have a broken camera or a broken display screen. Yeah, there was one at the very beginning. Somebody broke his battery lid off. I don't think it was even broken if you actually take a look at it. That said, I'm really tired of this. It's not an action camera. There's no meaning in action camera means that tells you that it's not an action camera because it has a flip screen. Okay, nor is it not an action camera because it has a front display screen. I kind of wrote in his channel. I said, well, we've never really had front display until recently. It's a new technology, right? And honestly, there's only two cameras that have that front display. There are other, GoPro, DJI, and Ace Pro aren't the only players in the action camera world. There are other action cameras, even Sony, Nikon, when they first started, they didn't have front displays. And we started out with cameras that didn't have front displays screens. And we didn't have a problem framing our shots. Did we not live? Did we always have crappy shots back in those days? It doesn't even make sense. And he's saying, well, just because, we're so spoiled by these little features that we automatically speculate because it doesn't have this feature, it's not this category. No, you don't get to make that speculation. I'm sorry. You don't get to make that speculation that because it has a flip-up screen, it's not an action camera. It's absolutely an action camera. It's been proven time and time again. It's been used in action, and nothing has happened to it, right? And I'm tired of these trollers. And there's a gentleman that I've been kind of following. You know who you are, and I'm sure you're going to watch this video. You can talk and dispute me all you want on my channel. I don't care. And he goes around, I'm not going to mention any names. You guys will probably know who this person is. You'll see him around. He goes around to all the Ace Pro channels and reviews, and he always says the same thing. Because of the flip-up screen, this is not an action camera. Every one of his posts in all these channels are the same comments, and I've disputed with him, and he says he has this camera, right, and he doesn't like it. He hates it because of this, right? That's what he tells me when I had a dispute with him, and my question is to him and to all these and there's other ones too. There's a couple other ones. These people who aren't happy with the camera, who bought their Ace Pro, didn't do what they wanted to do. Why are you hanging around these channels and saying negative things about it? Return the camera, move on with your life. Go play and with GoPros and go DJ. Who cares? I don't care. Why would you stay around and just troll around in these channels and then say negative things about this camera? And when you're confronted, you don't have any backing. You don't have anything to back up your comment. You make one line. I call them one-hit wonders. They make one hit line and then they disappear. When you confront them, they get all pissed off. It's kind of sad to see these people. And the funny thing is that you are the guys are part of the reason why I'm here. You've created a monster, and that's me. And I'm calling every one of those guys out, right? If you have a legitimate argument, absolutely, I will respect that, and I will definitely take it into consideration. But if you come in and just say this camera sucks and you have nothing to back it up with, you're an idiot, right? Because you're just a troll, and you're just a fanboy. And you're obviously being paid or incentivized to be in there and making those comments. So if you're not happy with the camera, it's a simple resolution. Return it, go buy a GoPro, go buy a DJI, move on with your life. Does this make you happy to troll around these channels and just saying bad things about the camera? And you know what the saddest problem of all this with these trollers is that they're just sitting around. They're waiting for something to happen to this camera, and then they're gonna pop out and say, "I told you so." And that's really sad, because I'm just saying this right now because I know what you're going to do. You're just waiting. You're just waiting for something to happen. It's been a month and nothing has really happened. But that's just sad because we all know that DJI and GoPro has had their problems and continue to have their problems. I'll give you a good example. Look at the Pocket 3. Everybody was raving about the Pocket 3. It's a great camera, but now we're starting to see problems with the Pocket 3, right? But we're kind of brushing that aside, aren't we? Because it's a household name. Like I said, if you're not happy with your camera, you know, you're well within your return period. Just return it, move on, enjoy your GoPro, enjoy your DJI. I don't care. I'm not here for the fame and fortune. I'm retired. I have lots of time. Come play. I'm working on. There's some reviewers. I'm trying to answer as much questions as I can. There's some issues with sync presets. I'm actually approaching Insta360, the contact that I have, to talk about these things and to see if they can send that to their engineering department. Maybe, you know, update a few features. I know you guys seen a new firmware out. Clarity zoom is definitely improved, which is a nice nice thing to have, because one of the reasons why I bought the camera was because of the clarity zoom. So that's nice to see that that's actually being improved. I like to see a little bit more things. I've sent a list of things for them to look at, and hopefully they will. Hey, who am I to them, right? I'm just some dude. I'm not even a career content creator. You know, I don't have the kind of following that most of these guys do. So will they take me seriously? I don't know, but at least I've done my part and I've submitted that list of things for them to look at. That's you guys telling me what you guys are having problems with. I'm going to try and pass that or filter that through to the Insta360 team. There's one big thing coming out. A lot of people are wanting how I do if I'm traveling. There seems to be a lot of interest in travel with cameras and gear. How I do editing, post-editing, that kind of stuff. And I used to use a laptop, a full-blown Intel laptop, and I stopped doing it just because it's becoming bulky and I'm carrying more gear. So I've been using just a tablet, and I invested in a relatively expensive tablet to do all this. And I've had it last year. I had the tablet in all my trips, and it's actually worked out really well. There's a couple of glitches with the tablet and this camera or any action cam, and I'll cover that as well. So I'll go through software, what I use to edit, that kind of stuff. So that's coming soon. So just be a little patient. There's been a lot going on with me with other things, so I'll try and get as much out as possible. Anyways, I'll continue on with the rest of the video. Just please stay on. If you don't want to hear me blab, I'll chapter this as well. You can just go right to the two other things. And then you can just look at those are important things that you need to know, especially the one with the lens guard. The one at the end, you don't. It doesn't really matter. It just shows the mounting that I have on different things that I do with action cameras. Anyways, guys, we'll talk soon. Ciao, peace, respect. Okay, guys, I'm just gonna do a quick coverage of the lens guards. Bassman has found out that through his test in the water. And this happens with the original as well, that water does get in underneath the lens guard. You'll see the compartment here where I've marked it in the colors. So where it's marked around the lens, that's where the seal is. So water doesn't get into that cavity, which is probably the most important part, but water does get in underneath that compartment around that seal, which is normal because if you look at the GoPro, it does the same as well. The only concern that I have is now the GoPro's removable lens, which is nice because it gives you the option to remove that, pop that lens open, and do some extra cleaning, especially when you've dealt with salt water. I know from salt water will corrode if it stays stagnant on top of metal. Whether it's stainless steel or not, it will eventually corrode that metal. So the theory of Ace Pro making this a non-removable, and I hope they're listening to this and I hope they see this video, making it non-removable, it's a big problem because it doesn't give, it tells the customers that they're not able to remove that lens guard. I always do, just for the extra cleaning, to clean out that salt deposit or the salt water. Because it doesn't matter if you rinse it or soak it in water, which they do actually tell you. You'll see at the end of this, there's actually a disclaimer telling you that when you've used it in salt water, you are to take your Ace Pro and soak it in or let it sit in fresh water for a number of time to get that salt out of that compartment underneath. Now, that said, that's a great idea, but there are times where people will forget. People don't read instructions, and people don't soak it long enough that there's still salt water in that compartment. That's a problem because if you don't remove that and do that extra cleaning like you can with a GoPro or a DJI. DJI doesn't have that problem because their system is probably the best. It's a screw lens guard. That said, to be able to actually pop that lens and do some cleaning with some tissue, get that extra salt water out of there, make sure it's dry, is day and night, because that can actually save your camera from the metal parts being corroded. So that's something that you need to understand. If you're in salt water, you're better off using a dive housing. I know it's an extra cost. You can buy them in aftermarket now. They're about 18 bucks Canadian, like 15 bucks US. It's worth the hassle if you don't want to remove that lens guard. If I'm bringing mine into salt water, you're darn right I'm going to remove that lens guard. I don't care if it wrecks my warranty or not, because it doesn't matter, because if salt gets in there, salt will get into weirdest places and smallest nooks and crannies, and it will corrode. I'll show you some samples of stuff that's I can't save because of salt. And I've soaked it in water. Sometimes it doesn't get into the tighter areas, and it will start to corrode from those areas. So just so you know, there is instructions in a manual to tell you to soak it in water if you use it in salt water, to wash out, rinse out that salt underneath that lens guard. But they should have, like I said, I'm gonna approach them again. They should have made that removable, to give the user an option to actually clean underneath that lens due to salt water corrosion. Anyways, that's this part, and then we'll move on to the next part for mounting systems. Thanks, guys. Any questions? Drop me a line below. I'll try to put a link for all the stuff that I've discussed in this video. Ciao.